Our fourth video in the teaching this week talks about the issue of procrastination. And we've all faced that at different times throughout our life, maybe even today. You just don't want to do it. You're like this guy. You're either exhausted, you have no energy, um, and it's just like you're on this empty tank of trying to drive your life. And when we become into this type of mindset, we then kind of get into like this slide depicts, and I think this is a great slide that really sums it up. When we have procrastination, we will do anything. I mean anything other than the task at hand, the task in front of us, right? I don't know why that is, but we want to substitute. We're going to do clean the garage before we do that task. We're going to reorganize our filing system before we do the task, instead of just doing the task. Okay, so what I'd like to do in today's lesson is give you 20 procrastination hacks when you're just don't have the energy, when you're stuck, when you just maybe just don't feel like it. Because every one of us finds that at different times in our life. And there's many different things that might apply to you. And so I'm going to go through these slides rather rapidly, but I think that you're going to be able to pick up on some ideas and some tips that's going to help you when you face these situations and increase your overall productivity and manage your time better. Now, in the notes on the page, you'll see that I have a PDF file that gives you all 20 of these items that you can then print off, put in your notes, copy, paste, whatever you want to do. Hang it up on your wall or your desk, or near your work area, your refrigerator, something that you can be reminded of. Because as you listen to these 20, you're probably not going to absorb all of them at once. And so it's going to be something really good to refer back to and to start the discipline of your life to employ some of these hacks. Okay? So let's get going. Here's the first one. The idea that you're more productive in the morning. Now, that's not universal. Some people are more productive at night, but the question here is not whether it's the morning or the afternoon or 2:55. It's finding your moment. When are you most productive? When is the day or the time of day that you know you're going to be fatigued or low on your mental energy? When you need to just kind of, it's just a time when you know things are not going to be productive for you. Find the times that are, right? You know this, and then tackle those tasks that are the ones that are difficult for you to get going in on. Okay, again, if it's a project, if it's a task of having to call somebody or do something, find those optimal times, and that's when you really should go after the biggest hurdles and the biggest challenges for you. Okay. Number two, and this seems like a really simple one, but you want to change your routine, then take lunch differently. Okay, take it at your desk. Skip lunch entirely. Take that time as a break time to think and ponder and to just renew some of your energy. Think about lunches. Okay, many times if we go out to lunch, that can be an hour and a half. And not that that's bad, because if you're utilizing that to gather networking and relationships, nothing wrong with that at all. But just know that there's a price, right? You can pick up 45 minutes to an hour or more by attacking lunch differently than what you've done in the past. Okay? So a simple hack, but something that really can help you. Also, many times when we overeat, we tend to be more tired in the afternoon. It's like Thanksgiving dinner. It's not the tryptophan that kills you in the turkey. It's the fact that you're stuffing your face with too much food. And the same thing can happen at lunch. So having a salad or something that is a little less bulky will make your energy level rise rather than go downward in the afternoon. Here's one that I really like: changing your venue. Okay. If you're stuck on a task, then get up from your desk and try to do the task somewhere else. Take a pad of paper with you, your phone, your iPad, whatever it might be, and change your environment. Okay, move around. Go for a walk to somewhere else in the building or in your home or outside. Change the surroundings that you have. Move around. Do something physical. Okay, but just staying at your desk and staring, it's probably not going to change a thing for you. Actually get up and go somewhere else. Change your methodology. Number 4. If you're stuck and you just can't get beyond, go to a whiteboard and just start throwing up ideas. Go and take a pad of paper if you don't have that, and just start jotting down ideas on the pad of paper. Use many different sheets of paper along the way. Instead of using the computer all the time, go to old school and go to paper. Maybe you want to record your thoughts, okay, with your voice. Go on your phone and go to one of the voice recorder apps and write down, or not write down, but say your ideas. Okay? You're doing anything to get your car moving again, to getting momentum going. And changing your methodology is a great way of accomplishing that. Sometimes we get stuck because we feel that we should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. We think linearly in a line: A, then B, then C, then D, then E. And you might have some great ideas at D and E, but you just can't get started with A. So don't start at the beginning. Start in the middle. Put and express those ideas of the middle ideas, and then go back and fill them in. And don't worry about having it from the very beginning look like your final draft. It's a rough draft. So don't worry about your grammar. Don't worry about your spelling. Just throw up ideas and thoughts. They may not be sequential, and that's okay. But by throwing them up, you get what I call a springboard effect, right? This idea leads to that idea, leads to that idea. But until you get that first idea up there, you're not springboarding off of anything. Sometimes you can't get to the conclusions that you want to get to without going through some other ideas along the way. In other words, you can't do your 7th step if you don't do your 5th step and your 3rd step. But trying to get and do steps 1 followed by 2 followed by 3, that can be really difficult because you're trying to have everything line up. Don't do that. Just throw up ideas, okay? Matter of fact, the first idea isn't going to be the best thing anyways. As I've designed this course over a year, I didn't do it by just sitting down and going, here's step 1, then here's step 2, here's video 1, here's video 2. I just took a bunch of different ideas and I started throwing them up. I used Workflowy, which I talked to you about them in the very beginning, just to put in ideas, to dump ideas out. As I heard something or thought about something or I learned something, I'd throw it in. And then went back and readjusted all those ideas, right? Oh, wait, this idea shouldn't be here, or it shouldn't be in this week, it should be in that week. And this one, that's not so good, or wait, this idea, yeah, that's a good idea. I think I really want to say this or that, okay? Don't start at the beginning. One of the biggest obstacles in your productivity is when you think that you have to go 1 followed by 2 followed by 3. It's not true. Getting rid of the time suckers. Okay. Again, if you go back to that first kind of a Venn diagram, the one with the three colored circles, we 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 want to go and revert to those time suckers before we actually go at the project, right? We'll have meetings, or we're going to find out and adjust to the chair in our office. We're going to do phone calls. Of course, social media, TV, emails, anything except what we're going to be working on. Eliminate those. Get rid of them. Push them aside, okay? Because that's going to be a way of really being able to focus and get unstuck and get going on whatever it is that lies before you. Clutter. I hate it, okay? You're constantly moving things around, trying to find this, trying to find that. This is not a productive situation. And I don't buy well, that's just how I am. Okay. Well, okay. It doesn't mean you're going to be successful then, does it? But get yourself organized. Okay. Don't live in a messy situation, because that's not organized. And you think out of that chaos, we're going to have organization. It doesn't work that way. Organization breeds organization. Chaos does not breed organization. So clean up your work area, clean up where you're trying to do your task at, make sure it's neat and organized. And no, you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours about it. Okay. If you're like this person here in the slide, get a big box, throw it in there, and just have a work area where you actually can work and focus and get on with your day. Get rid of the clutter. It's a huge, huge time waster. How about this one? It's a circular argument. I worry because I've got this project coming up. And because I don't do this project, I stress out. And when I stress out, I worry even more. And I create emotional stress, even physical stress. And therefore I don't do the project, or do the project as well, right? It's a circle of thoughts that you have in your head. Worrying does not accomplish anything, does it? It doesn't get the project done. It doesn't have you get closer to your goals. All you're doing is fighting with yourself. It's about your mindset. And when you start thinking, oh, I can't do it, it's not going to happen, I don't know how, this or that, then all you're doing is making yourself less productive and less capable. Stop the worrying. How do you do that? Per some of these hacks, by changing your venue, changing your methodology, becoming the most productive times during your day. Start moving. Many times we worry, and if you think about it, you're worrying when you're alone. You're worrying when you're in one spot, okay, and not moving around. So change that, attack that. Use this hack to stop the worrying by doing other things. Perfectionism, right? This can be paralyzing because we want everything to be as right as possible. This goes really very closely to the idea of starting in the middle versus starting at the beginning. Because with perfectionism, we want to have everything look as great as it can. And there's nothing wrong with having high standards. Absolutely nothing. But to have it perfect, and then to go back and revise it and make it more perfect, and revise it and revise it and revise it. Okay? At what time, at what point is it good enough? And that doesn't mean that you just slid by. It means that it's good enough. And to invest more time, all that's going to do is it's going to be a very minimal increase in the actual project presentation work that you do. When is 90 or 95% probably good enough? Now, I'm not saying 50% is good enough. But when you're getting up to 90, 95% of this project, of this task of reaching your goals, maybe that's good enough, because otherwise you stall out. You get stuck because you want it to be absolutely perfect. Like the guy here with the ruler, that one blade of grass that only he sees, right? Most of us would never see the 5% that is not done. They look and say, "Well, that's a great project. That's a great goal that you're accomplishing. You've hit it at 90%, 95%." It's that other 5% that we beat ourselves up for. Do you feel that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Can you relate to that? Indecision. Which way do I go? Do I go left or do I go right? A lot of that has to do with fear, because we go, "Oh, if I go left, maybe that's the wrong road." And to that I would say this: yep, maybe, but you won't know until you take a step. You won't know until you take a direction. And if left's the wrong way, you'll know. And there's nothing that says that you can't go back and go on the other path. The beauty about life is that each day we wake up with a clean slate, a clean whiteboard, that no matter what we've done in the past, there's very, very few things that can't be undone, that we can't learn from, that we can't leave in our past and go in a different direction. And you're doing that with this course, right? You've tried lots of different things, but you've decided, I'm going to go in a different direction. That doesn't mean that you made a lot of mistakes. It doesn't mean that you haven't made a lot of mistakes along the way. You have, just like me. So don't be indecisive. Don't get into a situation where you have to have every fact and everything researched, and you get to the point where you get paralysis by analysis. You've heard of that, haven't you? Paralysis by analysis. We become stymied and can't make a move because we want more data. Now, getting data by itself, no problem with that. But when you've got 90% of the data, when it's pretty clear which way you should go, but you want to get that other 5 or 10% because you want to be absolutely sure, then you don't end up doing anything and there's no action. Here's the truth. There's not too much in life that is absolutely 100% sure. And quite honestly, when you do take the right path, there's other decisions ahead of that. And there's other things where you have to be flexible and change and adapt. So no path is perfect. Take your best information and then make a decision and go down that path, knowing that it could be wrong. That's all right. You'll change. You'll adapt. You'll go back. But if you don't move, all that's going to happen is you're going to be stuck and still looking at two roads ahead of you for the next months, years, your life. And that's no way to live. Number 11. All right, we're halfway done here. You don't have a plan for the day. And we've talked about that in prior lessons, about having your plan. I can't emphasize it enough. But it's one of the reasons that you can fall into that rut of procrastination, because you just kind of show up and you kind of take the battles as they're presented to you. Don't do that. Have a plan. What do you want to accomplish today? What is your goal for today, this week, this month? Have a plan. That's going to give you the motivation to start moving and not remain stuck. And how about this guy? Okay, if you yawned or are yawning, it's pretty much a conditional type thing. But being tired, not getting enough sleep, is going to lead to procrastination. It's going to lead to not having the energy. Physically, you're not going to be able to do the things that you need to do because you're half asleep, because you didn't get the sleep that you needed. You know that in your life. When you're short on sleep, you're not at your best. You're not making great decisions. You're not attacking and playing offense. You're just kind of filling up space. Be intentional. Schedule it in so that you can get the sleep that you need. And also schedule in breaks so that as you're working and you need to be able to, just recharge, schedule that in. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, but let's continue on. What about if you're just flat lazy? Okay, I mean, you just flat lazy. Well, I think what you got to do is figure out the why. Okay, are you just in a situation where you can't see any benefits at all? List out the benefits for what this project or task or goal is going to mean to yourself and to others. Have that help motivate you, because true laziness is something that is really a mindset, isn't it? It's the I don't care. This is not important to me. And sometimes it's just a defense mechanism that we have. I'm just going to be lazy because I don't care, because I want to be, forgive me, but self-centered. It's all about me. If you feel that you're in this category, look and see how you can help people outside of your world. How can you encourage them? How can you assist them? Look outside of yourself to break out of this laziness mindset. We also need to look sometimes at the single task that's ahead of us. We start thinking about too many other things can lead us to a paralysis. I've got this to do. I need to go to the store later on. I've got all these goals that are ahead of me. I'm feeling like I'm drowning. And when you feel like you're drowning, you don't do the single task that's in front of you because you feel like there's all these other things. Focus on that single task. One way of helping yourself out of this is when you feel like you're overwhelmed. Write down all the overwhelmed stuff, okay? All the issues, all the problems, all the whatever. Just start writing them down. And more often than not, what seemed like an insurmountable mountain of stuff came out to be 8 items. Try it. See what happens when you do that. And then put those other things away and focus in on just this. Don't let your mind wander to all the other things. Focus in on this. And 15 is see what you're doing as a learning opportunity. What are you going to gain by doing this? What are you going to learn about others, yourself, the company? See it as a chance to grow. And in doing that, that's going to help give you that motivation. What about setting an alarm? Okay. Let's say it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. That's the amount of time that I'm going to focus in on this task. I'm going to take the next time period, set an alarm, and I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to focus on that, knowing I've got a reward at the end of 30 minutes. The alarm's going to ring, and I'm going to get up, and I've got some stuff to accomplish. Rather than worrying and fretting about it for 30 minutes, an hour and a half, an afternoon, focus your time and set yourself that alarm that gives you permission to stop your task when the alarm goes off. And we said this a little bit earlier, schedule a break. So maybe you set that alarm for 30 minutes. And then in your schedule, you're going to take a 10-minute break. You're going to go to get a cup of coffee. You're going to talk to somebody else. Okay? This doesn't have to be nose to the grindstone all the time. but schedule in those breaks rather than having them just happen. Because if you schedule them in, a couple things happen. One, you actually get a break. Two, it's a limited break. It's not all afternoon. It's not a time waster. Three, it gives you something to look forward to in your day. And that break can be a break in time. It can be a break in your activities. What is it that you like to do? And look, if it's social media, I'm a big TikTok fan, all right? I admit this. But if I say, when I get this project done, when my alarm goes off, I'm going to spend 10 minutes doing TikTok. And I set an alarm. Because if I don't, that can easily 10 minutes turn into an hour, right? You've been there. Set that 10 minutes because I enjoy doing that. Boom. After it's done, I've been rewarded and I can get back at other ideas and other tasks. I hope that makes sense. Okay? Here's a big one. Stop thinking about this and start doing it. It has a lot to do with indecision, doesn't it? Very similar. There's a point in time when you need to move forward. And we've thought, and move forward. Start making progress. Start just doing something rather than sitting back and trying to think it all through. I think you've seen how a lot of these hacks can uh, interact and network with each other. I mean, this is a lot has to do with perfectionism. We want to think everything through, or we want to start at the beginning and make sure that we have everything all planned out. Sometimes we should just start doing, and we'll find that we create things that are of higher quality and faster than what we ever thought or dreamed was imaginable. Sometimes we need music. Um, I'll put on earbuds or headphones, I'll crank it up, and I'll start getting into a task. And I find that I don't even listen to that music, do I? Once I'm really involved in the task. Maybe you're different. I don't think so. But upbeat music, music that I enjoy, that motivates me, it gets me kind of going. It helps me focus in on what's ahead of me. I'm a runner, and um, I don't like running. Okay, not too many runners really do like running. But I put on music that is energetic, that's motivating, and it helps me continue to put one foot in front of the other. Okay? Music, as we talked way back in the beginning of the course, is something that really can motivate us. Okay? Use that if you're stuck. Use that tool. Put something on and listen to it and see if that doesn't change how you're attacking that task. Finally, remember the why, right? If there's been a theme this week, it's always been about the big rocks and the why. Remember why you're doing this in the first place. What was the initial motivation? Now, sometimes, sure, it can be because my boss said I was supposed to, or my spouse said I was supposed to. Yep, I get that. But even with that, if your spouse said it, is this a way to um, honor your spouse, to help your spouse, to show them how much you care? Those are pretty good motivating reasons to do it. So the task itself, cleaning the toilet, not not something that's very motivating by itself, but if you're putting it in perspective as to why you're doing it, so your spouse doesn't have to, so it gives them more time because you love them. It's a task that you're willing to take up, and you're looking outside of yourself, whatever the type of reason it might be. Knowing the why is going to be a paramount reason as to how you can break free of the stuckness in your life. I hope all that made sense to you, did it? I realize that some of these hacks are similar, and some of them you've maybe tried in the past. But what I want you to do is try some this week. Actually, try some tomorrow. Take one or two of these and put them into your focus so that when you go into whatever you're going into tomorrow, whether, again, exercise, your goals, your dreams, your projects, your work, your career, whatever it might be, try to apply those, okay? This whole course, you just don't want head knowledge. You want things that are applicable, that are of high user value. So I want you to take a couple of these and try them tomorrow. And let's talk about how they went and what you needed to do. And I'm guessing that as you went through these 20 hacks, there have been a few that really stuck out to you that said, yeah, boy, that's me. You've identified with those. Great. Let's start doing something about it. Okay? Thanks for joining me as always, and on to the next lesson.